meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is an open meeting of the Seward, Nebraska governing body. The city of Seward abides by the Nebraska Open Meetings Act in conducting business. A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is displayed on the north wall of this meeting room facility as required. Disclosure of the meeting recording process is posted in the meeting room. Any citizen may address the council regarding items included on the meeting agenda and are asked to complete and submit a speaker card to the clerk. The mayor will call speakers to the podium when the item is being considered. Presenters shall approach the podium, state their name and address for the clerk's record, and are asked to limit remarks to 5 minutes. All remarks shall be directed to the mayor, who shall determine by whom any appropriate response shall be made. The city of Seward reserves the right to adjust the order of items on this agenda if necessary, and may elect to take action on any of the items listed. Please call the roll.
Kaler.
Here.
Coulterman.
Present.
Streisand.
Here.
Workin.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Franciscato.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
All right, thank you. The first 3 items this evening make up the consent agenda.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Franciscato, Kaler, Coulterman, Miller, Streisand, Workin, 6-0.
All right, thank you. The first administrative item this evening is consideration of Seward Foundation application. Item 1A is the Seward band shell. This is a shade covering, requested $10,000. Greg?
Actually, we have with us
Matt.
the specific requester, even though we are members of Rotary. So.
Yeah.
Matt Domley, 1970 Rainbow Avenue. Thank you all for your service. Appreciate you being here tonight. And we, so yes, I'm speaking for the Seward Rotary Club, a 100-year club in Seward, and we have worked with Greg to identify different funding sources for the band shell to put up the shade structure, especially for the 4th of July and other events down there, band shell to keep people shaded. And we have a $50,000 matching grant, which is fabulous. But we're asking that you consider applying for a $10,000 Seward Foundation grant. We feel like this is a great opportunity to support our city through the foundation, and so we'd love your support to be able to forward that application to the Seward Foundation.
Right. Thank you, Matt. Any questions or comments from the council?
What was the total cost on this whole project?
It's right around $100,000, and they're currently getting those final estimates. Mr. Wake is.
Any other questions or comments from the council? I believe the process in the past is to make a motion formally to forward
Forward on
it
to
to the foundation.
I make a motion to formally forward it on to the foundation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Franciscato, Kaler, Coulterman, Miller, Streisand, Workin, 6-0.
All right, thank you. Item 2, consideration of a claim from Sherry Lysing, 2273-308 for personal property damage in the amount of $3,153.56.
Yep, this is a recent claim that came in from Sherry Lysing in relation to driving her Mazda over the top of kind of the bumpers you see at end of parking stalls so you don't drive into a building. Apparently the claimant pulled up over it and then alleged that when she backed up, it messed up her car and ripped up her bumper. Derek and I went over and looked at the ones. They're just north of Seward Lichty Insurance. That's where it allegedly happened. So we took a look at it. We didn't see anything out of the normal. One was loose, but again, it's not propped up or anything. So don't know that's a direct concern. Prior recommendation, as I talked to Kelly, is to forward on to our insurance carrier and city attorney for disposition.
I make a motion, we forward it on to our insurance carrier and city attorney for further disposition.
Second.
The motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francisco, Taylor, Colterman, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
Alright, item 3, presentation and acceptance of Seward Volunteer Fire Department Annual Report. Welcome, Chief Mifflin.
Taylor Mifflin, Fire Chief, 131 North First Street. I'm in front of you guys tonight to give the 2024 Annual Chief's Report from the Seward Volunteer Fire Department. I'll start off with the purpose. Our purpose is to provide fire protection, suppression, rescue, emergency medical care, and transportation for the city of Seward, Nebraska, and the Seward Rural Fire District, promote fire prevention through education, training, and the public, provide aid to civil authorities in a case of natural or national disaster or emergency of any type, promote safety through education to the public, provide training and equipment necessary for the above tasks to be accomplished, as well as aid Seward County departments. Right now, we're in the process of locking down a mission statement for our organization, so I do have a mission statement for all of you tonight. So our mission statement is with the desire to serve and the courage to act. We preserve property, save lives, and build a safer community for the citizens we serve. I just want to touch on the fact that we do have an internal committee right now in our organization. Their sole purpose is for monitoring and maintaining a positive culture within our organization. The committee helps implement changes to maintain positive and healthy future for the organization. 2024 total calls, we had 724 calls, super busy in 2024. Of that, 81 were fire calls, 583 were rescue calls, 36 were motor vehicle accidents, 21 were hazmat, and 3 were weather related. We had 38 active members with multiple reserve members from each company. Members maintain the highest level of competency through training and personal development. The membership meets monthly for department meetings and training sessions. We welcome 3 new members in 2023, Noah Brum, Jax Johnson, and Caitlin Dennison. The department did lose 3 members in 2024. Those 3 members resigned from active status for different reasons. One was time commitment, 1 moved out of our district, and 1 went to reserve status. 2024 officers, we did have a transition of officers. There were quite a few. I'll run through who the officers were to start the year and who ended them. So, Chief was James Kimsey at the start of the year. Dan Brum, Assistant Chief, Training Officer Landon Dirks, Assistant Training Officer myself, Taylor Mifflin. Rescue Captain Connie Langwin, Assistant Rescue Captain Thomas Seward, Company 1 Captain John Singleton, Company 2 Captain Lisa Kimsey, Hook and Ladder Captain Tyler Dickinson, Safety Officer Kent Almond, President Mark Seward, and Secretary Brian Eberty. We did have some switch in October. Myself as Chief, Assistant Chief Dan Brum, Training Officer is Landon Dirks, Assistant Training Officer changed to Tyler Dickinson, Rescue Captain changed to Thomas Seward, Assistant Rescue Captain changed to Emily Estes, Company 1 Captain changed to Brian Eberty, Company 2 Captain Lisa Kimsey, Hook and Ladder Captain Tyler Dickinson, Safety Officer. It's currently open. And then President Mark Seward and Secretary changed to Travis Bullock. Just briefly touch on training. The organization takes training very seriously, preparing our members for different situations, big and small. High-level scenario-based training keeps our members prepared to protect the citizens and property of Seward County. Our members always stay prepared through our 11 department trainings. Members attend and train on a variety of classes and leadership courses by attending monthly training sessions, mutual aid training, storm spotting classes, various training outside of the department, EMS conference, leadership conference, fire school, as well as many others. We're still working on utilizing our training platform to accurately document a true number of training hours. The department had over 1,500 training hours in 2024, which is a dip from 2023, but 23 had a bulk of Firefighter 1 classes and EMT classes that our members took. The department currently has 17 total EMTs and 19 total Firefighter 1 certified firefighters. Community Seward Volunteer Fire gives back every year to the community through public interactions, community service events, sporting events, and escorts. Fire prevention, 4th of July, education to schools in collaboration with the local hospital. To touch on response times for the organization, the response times for 2024 is based on information documented in Response Master. The calculated time is calculated from 2 phases of call. The first is the time the unit is dispatched to the time it was en route. The second is the time leaving the station to arriving on scene. Please note that the times listed above are only figured using our first arriving unit. and we're working on tracking all apparatus better in 2025. There's also times that by using radio communications, a member may be closer to the scene without responding to the fire station. With this consideration, response times can be reduced. So in 2024, dispatch to en route was 7.25 minutes. I do just want to make a note that the national average for a paid fire department is 5 minutes. En route to on scene is 3.5 minutes, and then total response average from time of call to arriving on scene is 10.75 minutes. We are currently working on ways to reduce this time to better serve the community. The insurance service office, we still do hold an ISO rating of 4 and continue for ways to look to improve this score greater. The infrastructure, we're currently using 3 different programs daily that cover everything we do. Most of the programs have become more advanced through 2024. Image Trend Elite in conjunction with Nebraska EMS, Response Master, and Fire Engineering Training. The department has gone digital with patient care documentation using Image Trend Elite on a tablet to complete patient care forms and patient signatures for billing. Response Master continues to grow and has been used for truck maintenance, work orders, monthly truck checkoffs, fleet management, hydrant locations, incidents, and maps. We've been utilizing it more at the end of the year to document our calls and response times of apparatus. That would be all of our apparatus responding, not just the first one. Using the platform, we now collaborate with Seward County Communications and law enforcement by utilizing the same response number that dispatch generates. We don't have our own numbers anymore. We used to, but we're going to what communications actually makes. Fire engineering training remains available for training. This allows members to complete a range of quick trainings, long trainings, and only requires a computer and members' attention. We've been working with the program for better documentation of training. Seward volunteer apparatus. We did welcome a new tanker truck from Deep South Fire Apparatus last year in 2024. I'm sure you're all very aware that we've been waiting on this truck to be completed for years, and it's finally in the fire station. We added it to the fleet at the end of December, still working on stocking the truck to put it into service. But the department currently has 10 apparatus utilized for emergency response. We utilize 2 ambulances, 2 pumpers, 1 ladder truck, 2 tankers, 2 brush trucks, 1 UTV, and we do have a generator at the station. We continue to look for advancements in equipment and apparatus to better protect citizens and community of Seward while staying ahead of the curve with aging apparatus. Mutual aid. They're currently working on a bond to purchase needed apparatus for departments throughout the county. The overall project goal is to standardize and update apparatus to have all Seward County departments operating with reliable and similar trucks. This reduces the impact to the community if there is an emergency. It allows departments to work together with similar equipment and accomplish a common goal of community safety. And the building expansion project, I came into this super late into 2024. Seward Fire remains to be one of the busiest volunteer fire departments in the state. With the increasing demands and the foreseeable needs for increased services, the building expansion planning project was started to meet those needs. The department is working with the architects to lock down everything the department as well as the community needs. Nothing is currently set in stone as far as expansion plan goes, and we will work on the project through 2025 to get closer to a solution to those problems. I did want to put some goals in front of you guys that we have for 2025. These are organizational goals. Lower response times, better tracking of apparatus response, better tracking of training, establish better communication, and that is public communication, interdepartmental communication, and city officials and processes communication. The building expansion project, and establish better standard operating guidelines for our organization. Respectfully submitted, myself, Taylor Mifflin.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
Taylor, thanks for being here, appreciate it. Great update too, by the way, lots of good information. I think one of the things that we all appreciate about this community is the amount of volunteers that contribute to help our families and keep everybody safe and protected, and you guys do a great job. As volunteerism continues to fall off in our country, I don't think it's just Seward. Can you share any thoughts about how you guys have been talking about that, or how you feel about it, or how, maybe we can continue to support you as you seek volunteers? Are there other ideas you've looked at or talked about internally?
Yeah, so much like the rest of the country, we do feel the stress of the volunteerism going down.
Right.
We do have a upsurge right now going with the change of leadership that we had. We've had quite a few people coming in that are super interested in getting on. So it's kind of a false positive that we have going, but there has been conversation points of down the road, if it really gets to it, it's a stipend per call that we've talked about, just to get our members that we utilize
The
and show
most.
up a lot.
Yeah.
They would receive a stipend for their call, which would technically still fall under volunteerism, but it just kind of incentivizes it. The other thing we've really been looking into, especially since I took over in October, or when I was nominated in October, was the benefits that our members actually get from being on the organization. So our recruitment and retention has been like a huge hit. We've really been diving really deep into it. Because it's great if we can have people cycling in, but if we can't keep the people that we have. So retention's a big one, but as well as recruitment. As far as what we need right now, currently, I don't know that we have any plans set in place. We are monitoring that as we go. We're in a pretty safe spot responder-wise. Don't get me wrong, we would take bunches more. We have plenty of open spots that anybody could fill. But as of right now, we're in a pretty safe space. So we're still monitoring that issue.
Okay. Well, I guess my encouragement to you is if there's something that you need from us to continue to support you in that, don't hesitate to ask.
Absolutely.
Yes, Rich?
Chief Mifflin, is there, at your meetings, or is the public welcome to come to fire department meetings, or is there a portion of the meeting where people could come and just observe or to offer suggestions?
We always allow guests. It is open to the public. We don't get a whole lot of public that come in and out of there just because it is department business. And to be honest, it gets kind of boring. Even in my spot, it gets kind of boring. So I'll be honest.
Kind of like these meetings?
I don't know that I want to sit and listen to all that, but everyone is welcome to come in.
Okay.
Yes, Zane?
Yep, I just got one comment, Taylor. One, thank you for stepping up and serving as chief. Heard a lot of positive things about you so far. So
I appreciate
keep
that.
up the good work. Reading through your goals for the next year, you know what needs to be done on the department, and I think you're headed in the right direction. So I just want to say thank you. I know you didn't want to do it, but I think you're the right person.
That's why you're the best person for the job. Yeah.
I guess so. I appreciate that, Zane.
Taylor, I have a question. Thank you very much for really good report. I did have an older reserve fireman ask me last year and stuff if there's anything they could do. Some of the older kind of retired firemen and stuff, obviously they can't, physically do the things that you younger guys can do and stuff, but if there was any way they could pitch in, I didn't know, has that been brought up at all, is to try to tap into some of the older guys that wanna still, sweep the floor, or maybe wash trucks or wrap up, roll up hoses or something like that.
Yeah, so our reserve status is super cool because it's one thing that we do that a lot of departments don't do. And in that case, most people, when you retire, you're just retired from the organization. You may get an invite to something here or there. The difference between us is like every reserve member still has access into the station. They can treat it like it's their own. They can, if they wanted to sweep the floors, they could. We by no means ask them to do any of that. But there is conversation points of where we can better utilize them. As far as like if we have something crazy happen, I'm sure everybody's aware of the events on Friday. We probably could have utilized some reserve members there just at the station to man the station and make sure everything was good. And the other side of that is we just created, or we're in the process of creating a committee that reserves 100% are going to be asked to be a part of. And it's more of a historical tradition and like our reserve and relief committee. And that's kind of a cool committee. I kind of led the charge on that, and it's 100% just to preserve our past as an organization. Because I've been with this organization for 7 years. I started in the fire service when I turned 18, so like 13 years I've been in it. And I still kind of lose touch with the newer members that come in that are super green. So it's really, I see the reserve members' point of view that like, they've been on forever, they've held the status forever, and then we have new people coming in and they're like, wow, everything's changed. But reserve members are 100% welcome. I would say if they truly want to do something, to reach out to Dan Brower and myself, and we can definitely set something up and figure out where we can utilize them.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? One thing I would ask, as you move forward in this role, it would be helpful, I think, for the council and for us to have kind of historical perspective rather than just a snapshot of the last year, but on some of the data points.
Yep.
Like members, retention, calls, if there's a way to accumulate like the last 5 years and then moving forward, just so that everyone here has kind of a sense of how things are trending, and that way we can have a better context as to, you know, what's really improved and maybe what needs more improvement. Because, you know, you can say 5 minutes or 10 minutes and sounds good, I don't know. But if I know what the average is like you gave nationally or what the response times were in the past, it's an easier way to understand the context. Just so we have a more fuller picture of what's going on.
Absolutely.
Is that fair?
Yep.
Any other questions or comments?
No, I think we just wanna pass along our appreciation to your whole group, so if you would do that for us, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Would you like to make a motion to accept the report?
I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Second.
The motion and seconds is? Any further discussion? Here are these three. You guys do your votes? Please display the votes.
Voting in favor of Francisco, Kaler, Colton, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I have another meeting I have to attend.
That's what they all say.
Have a good night.
Alright, item 4 is a presentation and acceptance of Seward Police Department Annual Report. Welcome, Chief Peters.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. We and Greg and I discussed presenting an annual report to the city council a while back. To my knowledge, and I can only go back the past 16 years that I've been here, I don't believe this has ever been done before in this manner. So I'm looking at this as a jumping off point. So if there's items in the report that you would like to see in the future, please let me know. But with that, I'd like to just briefly go over, hit some of the highlights of my report. As far as 2024 went, it was a pretty busy year for us. We did have some staffing changes where we finally got to full staff when we hired Arcellus Hurd. Arcellus goes by Anthony, but he was a great get for us as well as a great fit. Anthony graduated from Concordia. He was a criminal justice major. I had him in a couple of my classes, so I got to know him. He was on the football team, so he understands the importance of the teamwork aspect that goes with the job. And just a great kid. Did well at the academy. Kind of breezed through our field training program, and he's now out on his own. He's working night shift. Works 6 to 6 on Sergeant Wiedemeyer shift. Other staff change we had this year was Allison Sommerfeld, who was a sergeant, because of personal decision on her part, asked to be take a voluntary demotion back to officer status, and we granted her that. Allison's now working day shift, and her position was filled after a promotion process by John Wiedemeyer. So John was promoted. John brings a lot of experience to the job. It'll be great. And we're lucky to keep Allison, because she has a wealth of knowledge, training and experience that comes along with the job as well. Moving forward, I also put a kind of a composite picture. I don't know if some of you may not know what all this looked like, which is not uncommon. But we are also gonna have our pictures put up on our wall in the lobby of our office, so that when visitors come in, they'll be able to put a face to the name. I'm surprised they turned out as well as they did, but they're good. Everybody was, I didn't get any pushback. Everybody was all for it. Also a current organizational chart. Again, this is kind of fluid. Right now, Sergeant Wiedemeyer is, he's on light duty status. He suffered a broken leg last month, so he'll be out for a while. Sergeant Frazee has adjusted his shift so he can kind of cover both sides of that night shift. But other than that, everything's pretty steady. Great group of officers and staff to work with. Very happy. Following section I hit just real quickly, training. Training is mandatory by the state. We are required to have 32 hours each year, minimum. We typically, I didn't figure out the average, but I'm sure we're closer to 40 to 45 hours per officer with the training that we do during the course of the year. There's some annual training that is required. Firearms, anti-bias training, for example, legal updates, things of that nature. And then we incorporate additional training on top of that. Additional firearms training beyond certification, which is required. Several of our officers also have additional duties as instructors in a variety of different areas. And that allows us to train in-house as opposed to paying to send officers elsewhere to attend training. Education real quick, as a part of understanding the problems that law enforcement has been having with recruiting and retention. Last year, the bills were introduced to kind of help alleviate some of that. One of the new bills that was passed provides 100% tuition for officers to get their bachelor's degree. A caveat, it has to be a state school, state university, one of the state colleges, or one of the community colleges. So for example, going to Concordia would not fall under that, unfortunately. But we do have some officers taking advantage of that, which is great. It's also, officers' dependents are also eligible for that 100% tuition, which obviously is a huge benefit.
Is that a state program?
It is, yes. It is a state, one of the state programs. Another thing they did was, through the state, we're offering bonuses to officers for longevity with a particular department. We had, 2 years ago, we had those of us that were on received our first bonus of $1,500. Next year we're eligible for the next one, which I believe is $2,500, and then year 5, 3,000, I believe, not for sure, which is great. I mean, but that has a definite end to it. After that 5 years, that program goes away. But we're definitely encouraging our officers to take advantage of it. Some of our community policing endeavors over the course of the year, I've spelled out. Most of you are familiar with, I'm sure. A new one I'd highlight is the Run with the Cops. This is something that our first one was last year, spearheaded by Officer Waldron, working closely with the Teammates program. Ended up raising $2,500 with that run that went towards the program. Hydrant party, working with the fire department, that was fun. That was something we was new this year. Just letting the kids play in basically a giant sprinkler provided by the fire department. Was a lot of fun. Some notes on what we've done in schools. Stuff the cruiser, obviously, you're familiar with. The Pup Cup promotion is actually something that Jody, our office administrator, and Shannon Arena came up as an idea of encouraging people to license their dogs. They would come in, and besides the license, they would also get a little treat bag for their dog, a little ice cream treat, some little giveaways. They worked with the local veterinarians as well as Alps. Had a nice little giveaway. People seem to be really receptive of that. Operation Lifesaver, that's a new endeavor we've taken on, where we are able to work with families where they may have somebody that has a tendency to wander, either a child that may be autistic, up to maybe somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia. A little sensor in a wristband that they wear with a specific radio frequency to that. If their loved one does wander off, they can call us, give us the frequency number, and we go out with it literally looks like something out of a 60s sci-fi movie. Little radar detection finder thing that looks like a big laser gun, and it can pinpoint their location. It's amazing. It's certainly not new technology, but it works great. We currently have one individual here in Seward. We haven't had to use it yet as far as going and locating her, but we're slowly starting to roll this program out, making it more, trying to advertise it a little bit more so that people are aware, because we definitely want to utilize.
Can we use that for Mark's house?
What's that? Oh, well, we do have folks in town that could definitely use it. We had somebody come up to us during the incident on Friday. A lady was asking if her husband might have been involved or in that accident, because he was out wondering and he had Alzheimer's. So again, perfect opportunity, which we didn't take at the time, to say, hey, we might be able to help out in the future in these situations.
Good to know.
Yeah. Real quick, statistics, I did throw some stats in there. Overall, our crime rate is, it's hard to complain about our crime rate. And as with statistics, you can kind of look at them from a couple of different perspectives. Currently, we are 4th lowest, tied with Norfolk, so that was pretty good. But when I look at some of the cities that are ahead of us, I can see some potential explanations as to why Gearing or Schuyler have lower crime rates than us, when I know for a fact Schuyler PD is very busy, not only because I know the police chief personally, my mother-in-law lives up there, I'm aware of how busy they are, but I also know that with certain populations, crime goes unreported. So I think that's probably, has a lot to do with that. But I'm happy with where we are at. As always, we can always do better, and we'll strive to do so. I also put in our total number of calls for service. This is I went back the last couple of years just to show the difference. Actually, from 21 to 23, fairly, I mean, not a whole lot of change, but there's a huge jump of 673 more calls last year than we had the years past. But as you can see, each year, the calls for service increase, and we deal with it. Citations, I just want to point out, under citations, under traffic, when we go down and look at school bus arm violations, there were 16. But just as an example of what strict enforcement can do, the year before we had 35. So the fact that we are out there, we're also aided by the fact that the school buses have cameras in them. So we can go after the fact. These can be reported to us after the incident happened. We can look at the camera, and then we can get a great shot of the vehicle involved, identify them through the license plate, and proceed with tracking them down, issuing the citation. Also of note, just under criminal, where was it? An election violation. I don't think I've ever in my career had a violation of election laws, but we had a lady that decided to vote twice this past election. So we usually, I did not follow up. I don't know what the disposition on that case was, but we did investigate that.
So vote early, vote often is not a thing?
Only in Chicago.
Okay. Good to know. So you always say you want to be buried in Chicago so you can remain politically active.
There you go. Nice. Oh, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain. As well, like I said, if there's information that you would like to have included in the report, please let me know. And like I said, this is just a jumping off point right now. I plan on building, especially using the numbers we can build from year to year. With the current reporting system that we have a lot more options as far as going back and retrieving information more quickly than we have in the past.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
General comment,
Yes, sir.
Brian, I think you guys have done a fantastic job. I think in my personal experience, you're working with the previous department, fire department, you guys work seamlessly and, help people as fast as you possibly can. This year, I think, was a super big year with the Highway 15 construction project, that put a lot more work and stress on your people and stuff. They handled it fantastic, and I just think overall that your professionalism and approachable as all your officers are is just please pass it on. We just appreciate it.
So I'll do that. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
And
very much.
also, thanks for sharing the list of the community engagement. I mean, I knew you did a lot of this, but I didn't know you did all of this.
We probably did even more if I could have thought about it.
It's great.
Jot them down. Also, just on a side note, I also want to commend the fire department for their response on Friday with the motor vehicle accident at the CDC. I heard a lot of great comments about how quickly they reacted, helping getting the kids over to the church in a seamless manner, kept the kids calm, made the scene a lot easier to deal with, because that was certainly a situation that we were literally inches from having a major tragic situation on our hands. As bad as it was, it could have been a heck of a lot worse. So kudos to everybody on the fire department. Oh, he left already. Forgot. Geez, I'm wasting my breath. We're not. Oh,
It's being recorded.
That's being recorded. As well, the deputies that responded, that helped us with traffic control, and the highway patrol that responded, they helped with their, accident reconstruction folks, using drone technology and mapping technology, where we'll have a real, intricate scale diagram, of the crash scene. So I just wanted to make quick mention of that too. It was a good team effort on everybody's part, including the other city departments that were involved, from the electric, and I know Tim was out there, he did a great job helping, making sure that the structure was safe, and you know, structurally sound, things of those things of that nature. And the church did a great job. Their people were ready to go as soon as we got the truck out. They were already putting up plywood, getting the building secured. So, anyway.
Rich?
I'm sorry, Rich.
It's okay. Thank you, Chief. I was just going to add that during the time that we rerouted traffic on from the highway over to Second Street, and we had the change in stop signs and yield signs all became four-way stops, and I want you to know that a lot of our constituents, a lot of our residents noticed the presence that your staff had, and they were always nearby and helping out with people who may have become confused about why it's a four-way stop and so forth. And taking the time to explain and listen to our residents has been really well received, and I think they take a lot of pride in the fact that our police department is a very good communication group. So I wanted to add that to your talk today.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Seems like a bad dream now, doesn't it? Construction project. But if no other questions, I'll be happy to entertain it. But other than that, thank you for your.
You do need a quick motion, though?
Move to approve the chief's report.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francis Scott Kaler, Coulter, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Item 5, consideration of approval of farm lease agreements for a term of 3 years. Looks like we have 5 of them. Did you want to say anything about these, Kelly?
No, just that we had our farm lease auction. We held it last Monday, advertised it in the newspaper well in advance. These are several real, irregular small tracts, and I think the city appreciates the tenants and their upkeep of these acres. So
Sometimes it's more about just maintenance
yeah,
than really profiting from these.
and these are 3-year leases, so we try to revisit this every 3 years to make sure we get market rates.
We'll do these individually, probably just for the record.
That's fine.
Are there any questions or comments on any of these tracts of land? If not, then we can just start with 5A. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francis Scott Kaler, Coulter, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
5B.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
With a motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francis Scott Kaler, Coulter, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
5C.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
With a motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francis Scott Kaler, Coulter, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
5D.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
With a motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francis Scott Kaler, Coulter, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
5E.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
With a motion and a second. Please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francis Scott Kaler, Coulter, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
Alright, thank you. Item 6, this is consideration of a voluntary annexation request. This is the second reading. An ordinance declaring the annexation of certain contiguous and adjacent tracts of land, urban and suburban in character, more specifically Lot 1 WCP addition to the city of Seward, to the corporate limits of the city of Seward, Nebraska, and extending the limits thereof accordingly. To describe the real estate to be annexed and its boundaries, to provide for publication of this ordinance in proper form, to provide for a time when this ordinance shall take effect. That is the second reading. Item 7, consideration of an ordinance to revise the Assistant Recreation Director and Wellness Lifeguard job titles. Derek.
First, I'll start off with the easy one, wellness lifeguard. Mr. Mayor rightly pointed out that it should be wellness center lifeguard to be, congruent with the other job titles, and I appreciate his attention to detail, so that's what that change is. No change to the duties or anything like that, so it'll just be wellness center lifeguard, just like wellness center attendant, all that kind of stuff. So that's an easy change. Last week we were informed from Assistant Recreation Director Bodie that he intended to resign and get a job closer to home. He's been commuting from Humphrey all the way to Seward every day for like 6 years now. So he has a growing family. He's gonna have more things that are gonna pull him way up to Humphrey rather than here. So we kind of knew this day was gonna come eventually. I think they're having or just had their second kid. So, he's got a lot going on at home. So we found a job that's like 5 minutes away from his house now in a different field. So obviously we're sad to see him go, but we wish him well, and he's leaving on very good terms, and I think he's done a great job here with modernizing things and bringing us up. So obviously with him leaving, we're looking for the next recreation director to move into the wellness center to be Joel Brazy's assistant, to kind of bring us into a new beginning, a new future, I guess, to take what Adam has done and build it even further and make it even better. Previously this job was housed as assistant recreation director. There wasn't technically a recreation director. We have Bob Core, who he was under, who's a public properties director. So in looking at this, we're like, well, he's not really an assistant to anyone, so we'll just call it recreation director, and it's gonna fall under Joel Brazy at the wellness center, being the right-hand man, second in command of the wellness center, helping to oversee the child care director and also the facility director over at that building, and the attendants, and also doing stuff over at the Dowding pool and managing the rec programs. So the job description has been edited to kind of include all his duties and kind of make a way for the wellness center stuff. We had not planned on making this job description change for a while yet until we were into the wellness center. There's no real great time for anyone to leave. This wasn't the best time for Mr. Bodie to leave, but opportunity calls and you go for it, and we wish him well, and we'll find a great replacement. We're already putting feelers out. I know Joel's had conversation with a few individuals that are interested, and I think this is a pretty attractive position, so I'm pretty confident we're gonna get a good pool of people. So what's in front of you tonight is just a change in the job title from assistant recreation director to recreation director, and also the wellness center lifeguard. And that's it. We're hiring for that position. We'll review applications on the 14th. We wanna get our applicants in as soon as possible, find who we're gonna go with, and get them into the process of moving into the wellness center. It's kind of our plan, so hopefully we have a good pool of people. Anything to add, Greg?
Nailed it.
Okay.
Any questions or comments from the council?
I'd like to add one thing. I'd worked with Adam a couple of times, most recently with an issue that had occurred at Dumas Park. I had given him attention about a complaint that had come up about the equipment being a hazard and potential harming the children that were using a piece of equipment, and he was on it the same day and took care of everything and reported back, and he also visited with residents in the area. So I just want to bring that to attention, just one example of Adam's work.
I know Greg had commented over the times when, we've been working with Adam, that when we had said something to Adam, like, hey, we need this done, he was always on it, like, right away, super responsive, always gave his all, so that will be missed, working with our organization that want to, and that willingness to do something and do it well. So, you just wish someone well and say, okay, we'll follow your progress. And I even told him, like, hey, I want to become friends with you on Facebook. I want to follow what's happening in your life. I try to become friends with our employees. I want to make sure we have a good relationship.
Yeah.
It's hard being an HR director and being cold and saying, yeah, I don't want to know anything about you. I want him to have a good career when he's going off and doing something different. And hope that his family's doing well in Humphrey, and hopefully he'll stop by and see us again here at the city of Seward. And like I say, he's leaving on the best terms possible. So we just wish him well.
Any other questions or comments from the council? If not, I'd ask someone to introduce the ordinance.
I'll introduce the ordinance.
Right, an ordinance to provide for annual classification of officers and employees of the city of Seward, Nebraska, to revise the assistant recreation director and wellness lifeguard job titles, to provide for longevity pay and payment of part part-time employees, to provide for a date such classification and pay ranges of compensation shall become effective, to provide for publication in pamphlet form, to provide for a time when this ordinance shall take effect. The ordinance has been read by title. It is designated as ordinance number 2025-5, and the title is hereby approved. I need a motion to dispense with statutory rule.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francisco, Kaler, Colterman, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
This is ordinance number 2025-5. Would anyone like to move that this ordinance be passed and adopted as read?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question is, shall ordinance number 2025-5 be finally passed and adopted? Please register your vote. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francisco, Kaler, Colterman, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
All right. Item 8, consideration of an ordinance approving a lease purchase agreement with Cattle Bank and Trust for the financing of the 2025 IHC DSFT pumper tanker, and authorize the mayor to execute all documents related to the financing agreement. Greg?
Yes, this is a financing approval for our aforementioned pumper truck that was noted by Chief Mifflin that I'm pretty sure we had on order prior to the COVID pandemic. So it has arrived within the last year. It'll be put into service this year, as Chief Mifflin noted. This was designated in our budget to be lease purchased over a given term, and so we're just following up with that. Once these come in, we give an opportunity to the local financial institutions to give us terms, and then we go usually with the lowest term. In this case, that was offered to us by Cattle Bank and Trust, and so that's who we've utilized for our financing in this situation. I can answer any questions you have about it, but we thank Cattle Bank for the opportunity, and we'll execute on this one pursuant to the budget.
Any questions or comments from the council? Otherwise, I'd ask someone to introduce the ordinance.
Go
ahead.
I'll introduce.
All right. An ordinance authorizing a lease purchase agreement relating to the purchase of equipment for use by the city of Seward, Nebraska, authorizing the execution of documents with respect to said lease purchase agreement, and providing for the publishing of this ordinance. The ordinance has been read by title and is designated as ordinance number 2025-6. The title is hereby approved. Need a motion to dispense with statutory rule.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, please register your votes. Please display the votes.
Voting in favor, Francisco, Kaler, Colterman, Miller, Streisand, Morgan, 6-0.
This is ordinance number 2025-6. Would anyone like to move that this ordinance be passed and adopted as read?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question is, shall ordinance number 2025-6 be finally passed and adopted? Please register your vote.